What about Google? I got a big beef with Google because they broke my heart. I put everything into my YouTube channel, and I have a new documentary film called We Will Not Be Silenced that is actually winning awards and film festivals all over the world. We've won 20 film festivals. I'll actually be in Myrtle Beach next month for a screening of the movie, and I'll be there for a freedom of speech symposium with Dr. Robert Malone. I'll be there with Dr. David E. Martin and Robert Kiyosaki, who's a good friend of mine. We should get you up there as well, Mike. And we'll be talking about these issues. And it's really important because 6 months ago, they completely deplatformed my channel. And this had, 500 million views, 14,000 videos, 2.4 million subscribers. And 99% of the content was content that changed people's lives and made a massive positive impact on the world. And 1% of it was quote unquote medical misinformation. And it still bothers me because I feel like my human rights were violated and my First Amendment rights are violated. And these are felonies, and somebody should go to jail and I should get reparations and I should get my damn channel back. Do I have any hope of doing that? And is anybody going after Google? And is it possible to go after that company, or is it more powerful than everyone else, Mike?
Yeah, Google is really the great Goliath in this whole story. Google is, in the words of Julian Assange in an article that he wrote, this is the verbatim title, "Google is not what it seems." Google, I always joke that it's not a joke, but I always sort of say a little bit tongue in cheek that none of the tech companies wanted to go through with the internet censorship protocols that were forced on them by the government between 2017 and 2020, and which continues today. Jack Dorsey didn't want to deplatform President Trump. He came out later and said it was a business decision. They were forced to do it. Mark Zuckerberg said in 2019 in a speech in San Jose that the pendulum of censorship had swung too far, and that he wanted to swing it back towards freedom of speech, and then ended up censoring more than ever because of the sort of government-induced coercion that continued on him. The one exception to this is Google. Google did not have to be prodded too hard to do this. They, I think, did it gleefully. And part of that is because Google really is an extension of the foreign policy establishment itself. There's a much clearer line between Twitter and the U.S. government, and even between Facebook and the U.S. government, than there is between Google. Google itself started, as a CIA NSA project in a certain respect. I mean, now I don't think that Larry Page and Sergey Brin would agree with that characterization. It's a bit glib, but the fact is Google started in 1996, and it started because of the work that was done in 1995 out of a DARPA grant that the two founders had at Stanford when they were PhD students working on, the backbone architecture of Google, which was again funded by DARPA, the Pentagon, and specifically a joint CIA NSA program called the Massive Digital Data Services Program at DARPA, which was this joint CIA NSA data collection sweep to try to see how, quote, birds of a feather were flocking together in the newly privatized internet. So, in 1991, the World Wide Web came out, and Web 1.0 was forums and blogs and static.com websites. And these were immediately piped into dissident groups around the world that were being funded by the CIA and were being liaised with the State Department and were being instrumentalized by the Pentagon in order to help those dissident groups develop their own independent media and communication channels in countries where there was state control over media. So it allowed them to basically popularize their ideas and create a critical mass to overthrow a government that the CIA and the Pentagon, the State Department wanted deposed, so to speak. So in order to track the spread of that information, to see how political groups are using this newly open internet, there was this birds of a feather flocking together program that Larry Page and Sergey Brin were a part of in 1995 at Stanford. And Stanford is now continues to be the number one place where they were the number one place for digital freedom in the 1990s and 2000s. And they were one of the 4 universities that, when DARPA turned over the internet to the National Science Foundation before the World Wide Web, Stanford was one of the 4 central university nodes in that web. Today it's actually the Stanford Internet Observatory, which is this kind of CIA hotbed within Stanford that was largely responsible for so much of COVID censorship. They started something called the Virality Project, which chopped up 4 different categories of COVID dissent. And then we talked about COVID origins, and we talked about COVID mandates or lockdowns, or masks, or even conspiracy theories about individuals like Peter Daszak or Tony Fauci. Were all being tracked by this, essentially CIA State Department cell within Stanford that captured hundreds of millions of social media content using their, sort of AI powered, toolkit that we might get to. These are the weapons of mass deletions that I talk about. But essentially, Google started out that way. They started out, being powered by the CIA, the NSA, and the Pentagon. The only reason that they had the amazing tools that they did, like Google Maps wasn't this, amazing project that Google came up with. They bought the keyhole satellite technology for Google Maps directly from the Central Intelligence Agency. That was a CIA satellite software that they purchased. The CIA hadn't come up with that. Google wouldn't have it. And Google became a military contractor in 2004, the first year they went private. They were always an arm of the national security state. They always had their monopoly because they were protected by the U.S. government. There was never daylight between government and Google.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.